Zizi was saying Zuma is innocent until proven guilty, and that really it's up to the NPA now to kind of begin that process, and saying it really has no impact on the municipal elections. It's no dent into the party kind of going into the elections this year. And there's a parallel there with the elections in 2009. What's your thinking around what this means for the ANC in the 2016 elections?
It comes at a very bad time for the ANC. Like I said previously, the ANC is already under pressure because of the Nkandla judgment. The fact that the Constitutional Court found President Zuma contravened his oath of office. He contravened the Constitution by ignoring Thuli Madonsela's findings on the Nkandla matter. Now there's another case. This case is now back in the public domain. People will start to talk about it again. People will start to talk about the arms deal. We'll start to talk about the bribe. Judge Hilary Squires found that the French arms company Tint bribed Schabir Shaik to get to Zuma. And people will start to talk about the Shaik payments to Zuma's family. People will start to ask questions about the Gupta family and what they might have paid to the family. And what Zizi Kotwa is right about is that Sean Abrams is now the man in the hot seat.
Yes.
He's the head of the NPA, and he now has to sit today after this judgment aware of the fact that the court has warned the NPA not to take rash decisions, not to take decisions based on emotion. He must go and look at those representations again. The case is back in front of him, it's alive, it's active, and decide whether he's going to take it back to court or whether he will too, like Mshe, withdraw charges against Zuma, based on very good reasons this time, because he cannot use the spy tapes as we heard this morning.
And if we look at that broader picture, we look at things like the Scorpions, the NPA, the ANC, the leadership race back in 2009, and it becomes more and more of a fog. And then if we consider the fact that in terms of the arms deal, we recently heard the outcomes of the Suriti Commission, Zuma himself summarizing what happens. As an everyday person following the news, it becomes a massive, thick fog to try and make sense, make head or tail of things.
I think what we should remember is President Zuma doesn't want to go to court on this case. And a lot of things he has done during his tenure as president was to protect himself from prosecution. The people he's appointed at the NPA, the institutions that was weakened, the Scorpions that was closed down. All these things, I believe, happened because he's scared to go to court. He knows there's a very good case against him. He saw what happened with Schabir Shaik's trial. Of course, he could have been charged with Shaik, but Bulelani Mnuka at that time, the head of the NPA, decided not to charge them together. But yes, it is a confusing time. I think the way we must think about it is that Zuma wants to protect himself. He wants to stay out of prison. He doesn't want to face his charges in court. The Suriti Commission really only looked at the primary contracts of the arms deal, not at the secondary contracts where Shaik was involved in. Shaik was involved in the French part, who provided a certain part of the frigates or the corvettes to the Navy, not the entire boat that was built by the Germans. And I think leaving all that detail aside, it's about Jacob Zuma not wanting to face corruption charges in court, and he will do anything to avoid that.
So he's going to play the long game here and kind of draw it out, you predict, in order to avoid his day in court. Hearing what you say, I can't help but remember what I saw in Guyana yesterday for Freedom Day, on Wednesday. And the crowds there, massive crowds, very, very pleased to see the head of state, very happy to have a representative of the ANC that's been involved in delivering water and providing roads in those areas. And it just begs the question of how much of an impact this is really going to make to the average ANC voter.
Look, I think the ANC will be hurt by this decision. Its president is really a president of shame. There's so many clouds hanging over his head right now. There's so many questions about his integrity, about the decisions he's made, about the people he's appointed, about his proximity to families like the Guptas and the Sheiks before that I do think on that level it is bad for the ANC. Whether it means the ANC will suddenly lose at the polls, absolutely not. People don't vote for Jacob Zuma quite often, they vote for the ANC. So I think that impact might be visible in the metro areas. I think places like Johannesburg, Port Elizabeth, definitely the Nelson Mandela Bay municipality, and probably Tshwane in Pretoria could be some of the places where the ANC could actually be heard at the voting box, at the ballot box, through Jacob Zuma's actions. But of course, these court cases doesn't necessarily mean that people will stop voting for the ANC. It does say a lot about the person that leads the party.